but I'm keeping this. Ooh, should I? Should I keep it? I haven't worn it in so long. I turned 27 about 2 months ago, which makes me officially be in my late 20s. And that's kind of got me thinking about where I'm at in life, how I feel being 27. So we're gonna declutter my closet today, get rid of some stuff, but hopefully, you know, we learn something new today. Okay, I'm definitely keeping this. I wore them all the time when I was doing pottery. So I'm gonna keep this. I know I'm gonna get another use out of this. One thing I learned about being in my 20s is that my life is mine. I can live it however I want. I don't need to live it in a way that feels right for somebody, or somebody told me it was the right thing to do or the right way to live my life. Just realizing that I can actually make decisions that benefit me and not because somebody told me to do it. I've also started lightly questioning the things I do in life. Like, is this a real choice or is it just a habit? Is it me or is it a pattern I've just been repeating forever? And I started really thinking about what the heck it is I want. I got to a point in my career where I was just thinking, is this it? Is this what I've been working toward? Because I've grown up with that message of study hard, get good grades, get to a good school, get a good job. Nobody tells you what to do after that. What comes after this path that it seems like everybody's been telling you to go on and you've kind of reached the end of it. And there's so many possibilities out there, but it doesn't seem like possibilities, it just feels like you're lost. I've been reconnecting with some of the dreams I had when I was younger, and now that I have a bit of freedom and a bit of money and a bit of life experience, what are the things I could actually start doing now to fulfill those dreams? So I think I'm getting rid of this. Before I reach for this jacket, I know there's something else that I would reach for. Keeping this one. This is the jacket I said I would rather wear compared to the black one. Achieves the same thing, but much more stylish. The one thing that feels really different now is how slow life feels. I'm not constantly grinding or trying to chase things, and I could just take things slow and take my time. Like, I'm not constantly hustling all the time. And I used to be such a people pleaser. I would chase these goals or ideas without even stopping to ask if it's something I wanted for myself. Were those dreams even mine to begin with? Maybe it's because I'm not in that headspace of feeling like I have to prove myself, and maybe it's because I've grown up enough to realize that I'm not here to live someone else's life. I'm here to live mine. And that's brought a lot of peace of mind. Now I feel like I do things because I genuinely want to, and realizing that other people's dreams are not mine to carry. And I know it sounds super simple, but that whole do it because you like it idea, it finally feels true to me. Like, I can actually feel it in my body when it's something I actually want and not something I should want. Okay, we're not getting that far in this closet declutter, so let's do some more. I'm gonna keep that blazer. This was a hand-me-down from my sister. She didn't want it anymore. School hoodie. Do I ever wear this? No. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Sit in the closet. This was a piece I got in London during a Europe trip, and I love it. I love it because of the memory. I love how it looks. I don't know too much about fashion, but it's given me Chanel vibes. I think just because there's a collar. I used to be super high energy. I'm that kid that is always dancing, always singing, always being loud, always talking. And I remember my dad being in the car with me and I wasn't saying anything. And he goes, "Do you hear that?" I was like, What is it?" And he goes, "The silence." I still have those moments of being super energetic, but the spectrum of my energy throughout the day or just in this phase of my life, it just feels narrower. I'm sure that my bouts of energy when I was younger is some cry for attention. As somebody who has grown up, I only have so much energy in a day. It's more about making sure that I am spending it in a way that feels right for me. It's more of a shift in priority. So right now, a big focus for me is financial stability and building my net worth, making sure I'm not letting lifestyle creep sneak its way in. Okay, let's declutter some more. This is a set, and the bottom, this is the bottom for it, but I did stain the back. I'm not getting rid of these. I'm just trying to show you that this was a set. I went to the store, and something about local shops, I feel this pressure. It's hard for me not to feel like I have to get something. Yeah, they're like people that live in the community and stuff. To be honest, this is too big for me. Why did I get this? I think it could be useful. I'm not ready to get rid of this. A black hoodie. Keep. I do love comfy stuff. So I have this in 3 different colors. That's what I tend to do. Whenever I find something I really, really like, I just get it in multiple colors. So I have this in black, gray, olive green. I'm definitely keeping all 3 of these. This is a long sleeve from McNally Robinson. I love this bookstore. They have a gigantic tree inside. This is more of like a souvenir I have for myself. If you're in your 20s or you're already past them, I'd love to know what's the biggest lesson so far that you've learned in this decade of your life. I always love, getting other people's perspectives. Like, what's your experience been like? What's life been like for you? Comment it down below. Being at this stage in my life and how I thought 27 would look like, and I actually can't remember how I thought 27 was gonna be, because a lot of what I envisioned for myself felt like it stopped after getting a job. It became about having fun and enjoying my life. But something I've gotten really, really sick of is this constant need of having to prove yourself all the time, especially in the last couple of years. Maybe it has something to do with burnout or just this constant feeling of being under pressure. I don't know, I just got sick of it. I got sick of wondering, am I doing okay? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Like, obviously I am, but that nagging voice is always in my head all the time, and it makes you feel clueless. You can say you're a certain kind of person all you want, but if your actions don't match your words, then it doesn't really matter. So now I just show up however I want to show up. With me, what you see is what you get. Just in a way that isn't me curating myself for different people, because that takes up too much energy. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to be exhausted over that. It's extra effort to keep track of how I presented myself before and keep that narrative going. I'd just rather be me, and whatever that is whatever it is. One thing I outgrew is this scarcity mindset I used to have, especially around food and having stuff. When I started working and eating out all the time, I'm just like enjoying my money. I felt like I had to order everything. I felt like there's not going to be another chance for me to do things like this, especially when traveling. Oh my God. There's just this fear of like, what if I'm never here again? I need to try everything. But now it's definitely less on the food and more on the experience that I feel the need to spend my money on, because Italian food, Mexican food, Indian food, you can get that anywhere. It's not hard to come by. I try not to spend so much money going out to eat anymore. When we do go out to eat, it's like important to get on deals, go during happy hours. If there's like a special or whatever, I'll try to go for that. You can get a mimosa anywhere. It's not that special. So yeah, I think that feeling of I need to have this now has really calmed down. And it's helped a lot with impulse spending. There are some pieces in here that are definitely impulse spending. I used to just buy random things because I was walking around, especially with farmers markets, even though I don't need it. Now, instead of buying, think about what you're actually gonna use this for. If you're actually gonna want to keep this with you, because I move around every 1 to 2 years, or like I go traveling and all these things need to go somewhere. So keeping that in mind, I usually just don't want that much stuff anymore. I've gone thrifting more often in the past couple of years, and that's kind of changed the way I think about having stuff, because walking into these thrift stores, there's so many clothes, there's so much furniture, there's so much kitchen stuff, and all of these things that people have had over the years that they don't really want anymore. And I don't want to contribute, so I really just don't like keeping much stuff with me. There's this weight that comes with having stuff. It's both visible, as in you can see all of these things that you have, but it's also invisible in the sense that you think about, is this something I really like? Is this something I'm going to keep with me? When my lifestyle changes, is this going to fit? What do I do with it? What if I'm gone for a bit? And the other thing is I work from home, so I usually just wear things like this, just a plain shirt, some lounge pants, and I'm good to go. I rarely shop for clothes now. Maybe I do it once or twice a year because I know what I wear during the week, and that doesn't really change a lot. I literally have these pants that I've worn so much. They have a literal hole in the crotch. My guy, they have a hole. And I still wear them. I only wear it indoors, so it's not a big deal. And that's why we're doing this closet declutter, because even though I wear the same thing every week, there are things in here that I'm not really gonna wear anytime soon or ever. Okay, so something about me is that I used to be such a doormat. I never spoke up for myself. I'd just be super quiet if I'm not at home because I don't feel comfortable. I just tried not to be an inconvenience to anybody all the time. And one of the biggest things I see more clearly now is how much our relationships genuinely shape us. Like all of them, not just romantic ones, even friendships and family and classmates, coworkers. Every person leaves a mark on you in one way or another because it affects the way you see the world and the way you behave in that world after. And I think that's part of why I decided to start posting videos on YouTube. If any of my lessons and experiences help somebody be a bit more like themselves, then that would mean a lot to me. And speaking of relationships, having friends in your adult life is very hard. Because when you're in school, all of these things are kind of baked into your daily life. You share so many things with other people. You share classes, you share experiences, you share friend groups. Now it takes so much more intention to have friendships. It requires more effort to create them, to build them, to nurture them, to maintain them. And even if you have good work friends, it's sometimes the case that you don't share the same interests and the same hobbies and activities and stuff outside of work. Proximity still matters a lot in terms of making new friends. I found that friendships as an adult depend a lot on your nature. I can go months to a year without talking to somebody, and when we link up again, it feels like no time has passed and we're back to how we were before. But that doesn't always work for everybody. And with less built-in routines, it's really easy to drift apart from people we know. Fuck this. Whenever I wear this, the butt seam is not straight. So I'm gonna get rid of this because it just pisses me off. Success now looks really different for me. It used to look a lot like external validation, people telling me I was doing well, I was getting good grades, I was getting awards, etc. But now I think success looks a lot like making choices I can live with. It's not about hitting milestones anymore or doing the right thing based on somebody else's criteria. I now need to make choices that reflect who I am on the inside, making sure that they align with how I want to live my life and how I want to present myself. Choices that show people what I value and what I want out of life. Being open to changing my mind when I need to, making choices that help me live my life in a way that feels right for me. I think one of the biggest things that I've made peace with knowing is how I can't control anybody. I can't make anybody do what I want them to do. My expectations are mine, and if they're not met, that's on me. And I also just don't want to control people. What if people just do things because that's what I tell them to do? How do I trust that? Are they doing it because they want to, or is it because I said so? At the core of every relationship is trust and respect. You have to trust that people are gonna show you who they are. You need to trust their words, but more importantly, trust their actions. I don't get mad at it. I just accept it. It is what it is. And I try to show up as who I am. And that's all any of us can do. This is a whole pile of stuff I'm gonna get rid of. That's crazy. That's crazy.